Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Jon Witt, and this is my son Noah. Base level class to help you get started with your yoga. I do mobility work as well to help strengthen the joints and also to loosen the tissues around the joints, which will help with your yoga or your movements. If you have ever any questions, you can always reach out to me and I can help you more in terms of like knowing exactly what it is that you need. A video is really the best way to help someone. So if there was something that you're really struggling with, you could always send me a video and I could help you that way. So the class is going to be starting on our feet. So you don't need a lot of equipment. I'm going to use a wall at some point. You could use the inside of a door. And these are the techniques that I've used for years and years of teaching. And it's something that I use in terms of, I'm doing a training in February with the Prema Yoga Institute. It's an essential therapeutic training. So it's to help therapists and yoga teachers work more on the therapeutic level of teaching people in groups and privately. So if you'd like to take that course, all the information's on my website, and it's also at Prema Yoga Institute. So that's a great 100-hour course. But we've also divided it where you could also just take like a couple weekends, more specific for what you need, or if you don't have the time to do the full 100 hours, you could take some of it. It's a really good course. I've learned so much in teaching it, so maybe that's something that you'd like to take. All right, so on starting, I'm going to have my left foot where it's flat, and I'm just going to be circling the foot and the ankle. So I'm moving the foot and moving the lower body, you'll get more and more mobile in the upper body. So it's just, at first, you might find that things are a little bit stiff and they don't move as well. So this is a very good thing to start with in terms of getting your feet to move better, especially if you have a hard time on the floor or squatting. And then I'm going to go over into the right foot. So I'm circling out. And when you're doing something like this, I'm just scraping the surface. So a good thing to start with would be 60 seconds. 120 seconds is what you could kind of work up into. And then over time, you'll find that things move a little bit better, things are stronger, they're more integrated, and then they'll help in other areas of the body. Like when I'm doing this, I feel it more in my hips. So I'm going to go over into the left foot again, but now I'm circling in. And with these, it's very easy to be distracted. So once your mind is drifting and you're doing other things in terms of your thoughts, it's not a bad thing, but that's really when you're wanting to tune in a little bit more. So these are subtle things, but let's say you don't walk very well, a very simple task. But if you get things like your ankles and your knees and your hips to move better, you'll have better function in walking. So I'm going to go back into the right foot, and then I'm circling in, right? And you might feel some clicking or popping, right? It's nothing to be concerned with unless something is bothering you or irritating you. So if it's increasing inflammation, it's something that I wouldn't use just yet. You could hold like a static hold in various ways with the foot. So then I'm just going to come where my hands are behind me and I'm hooking my thumbs and I'm broadening my shoulders, and I'm going to lift my heels off the floor. And if I'm stable, I'm going to look over my right shoulder, but I want to keep my ribs from not turning. Right? It's very easy to just turn the torso, so I want to keep my left shoulder back. And then I'm going to turn forward, and then I'm going to look over my left shoulder. And the same thing is true, often people will turn the torso, and it shows that they don't have the flexibility in the neck. So then I'm going to lower the heels. So I'm just moving my body to the left side just to stretch out the right. Something very basic. So I'm going to do other motions of the ribcage. So if it's really difficult for you to do, this is probably going to be easier than what I'll be doing next. So I'm going to come up and then side bend to the right, and then the whole left side's picking up. You could let the head tilt. I'm keeping the head neutral. It's good to do it differently, and it'll give you more accuracy in terms of how you're moving, because if you always do it the same way, it becomes a pattern. Whether it's good or bad, it becomes a pattern. And then you can bring yourself up, and then when you come up, I'm going to do it with the head now. So I'm going to let the head tilt to the left shoulder to expose the neck, right, and the shoulder here. And then I'm going to lift the head, and then I'm going to move the head to the right. So I'm doing these really slow, relatively slow, but then you can eventually add motion, which can be really nice. And often a faster motion is kind of viewed as negative, but it can actually be very good for you. So then I'm gonna pick the head up. So I'm gonna do the side tilts for the rib cage, but if it's again irritating, just hold static holds, right? So I'm gonna go to the right just for a few seconds, and then I'm gonna come up, and then I'm gonna go to the right side. And like I said, it's very easy to just like, oh, I'm gonna whip myself over, and that's something that I would stop myself from doing. So bring yourself up. We're gonna go to the left again, and then going up to the right, and then bringing yourself back up. Now I'm going to move just my rib cage laterally. So I'm gliding the rib cage. So just moving the ribs. Try not to move your lower body. Try not to move your head. So you're just moving your ribs in space. And then as you're moving your ribs, right, it'll help with twisting, extending, lots of different things in terms of movement. And then I'm going to come back in the middle, and what I'm going to do is having my hand underneath my chin and my chest, just going to extend my thoracic. So I'm bringing it up. So I'm extending, not lifting the head, I'm just lifting the torso. And then I'm going to round, and by rounding my back, I don't want to feel it at all in my lower back. I'm just rounding the upper back. And then I'm going to bring myself up. And then as I go up in space, I'm really trying to extend through the thoracic spine. I'm going to round again. Just going to do a few of these, but when I do them for many, many minutes. You can bring yourself back up. So you might actually crack or pop, and then you can come back to neutral. So I'm going to do some things in terms of the legs. So you just need a little bit of space. You might need a wall. And then what I'm going to do, just so that I'm not hitting Noah, I'm just going to swing my leg in space. So with the leg and moving, you might find that the hip doesn't move, so you have to hinge from the knee. So if I'm hinging from the knee, right, if I'm moving my leg where my knee is moving, it's just a sign that your hip isn't mobile, right? It's just stiff. So you're just swinging your leg in space. Continuing swinging the leg. So focus on keeping the leg straight without bending the knee. And if you can't swing it as fluidly, make it smaller. Doesn't have to be the speed that I'm moving at. You can focus on more of just as if you were kicking a ball. So I'm moving the leg forward and back. And as I'm doing this, I could hold on to something if I couldn't balance. So now I'm moving over into a circular motion with the femur. So as I'm moving my thigh bone, I'm moving it more like an oval. And if that is okay, then you can start to move the thigh out and in, which is internal and external rotation of the thigh. And my focus is softening the musculature around the pelvis. So some mobility, the focus is to strengthen the hips. You'll get stronger in doing these, but I'm really focusing on relaxing the tissues so that my pelvis moves better in space, my thigh moves better in space. So now I'm back and circling, but over on the right side. So just kind of see where the leg does move and doesn't move, and then you can focus on more and increasing the range of motion as this as you get more familiar with it. As I'm internally and externally rotating the thigh, you can see how I'm elevating at times and lowering it, and that'll help with, again, softening the tissues. I'm not moving my upper body too much, but over time my upper body could move much more than I am moving in this video. So I hope these tips have helped you along the way. It's a shorter video. Sometimes it's better to just do a shorter practice, which can lead to better, longer practices. So let me know how the videos are going. Like, subscribe, share my information with your friends, your family. Greatly appreciate the support. Take care and continue with the good practice.